So one of the things that I feel like on Thursdays I'm always thinking about my academic class that I teach on Wednesdays, and one of the things that in the homework assignments that a student shared, which I thought was really I appreciate it because I often talk about mindfulness as being a science, and yoga is a science as well. But the student was just talking about the importance of acknowledging the origins of all of these traditions, and that there's this aspect of the medicalization of yoga or mindfulness, and that we might be losing something in that, and just to honor the rich traditions that a lot of these teachings and practices come from the East. So I think that's important. I think there's also been a beautiful joining of particularly modern anatomy and kinesiology that's woven into these traditions to support the physical body. It made me think about also just the idea of, so I don't actually, I'll tell you a little secret. I'm not a huge fan of the word spirituality, because I often think that people just use that as a little label without, like, what does that actually mean? How do you actually define that? But I think that in this comment the student made, that made me think of just for me, yoga is a spiritual practice, but what that means in my language is just this ability that it allows me to feel more connected, more alive, more woven into the fabric of something larger than myself, to build an internal relationship to myself, to have a relationship with my body, to feel a part of nature. So for me, that's what spirituality and these practices give as a gift, and I think that that's it. For me. I find that to be super beautiful, and I think it's an enriching process. So we'll play a little bit with that in our practice. Just what does this do for you? Of course, there's a physical benefit, but beyond that, is there anything else that's coming into the equation? So take a comfortable seat in your own body, however that looks like for you today. If you have something like 2 blocks, you can also use the diamond seat. It can be a little bit of a change from the cross-legged seat. If you always use that, it can also create a little bit of less pressure for your knees. Make any little fidgets movements with shoulders, with head, neck. And from there, give yourself as much time as you need to arrive here in this space, to settle, and to welcome all parts of yourself. Whatever is current and in the forefront for your physical experience, and also what you're noticing in your breath, in your mind, and also your heart, your emotions. And take in a deep, full breath through your nose or your mouth if you're congested. With the exhalation, let go. Open mouth, exhale. And again, deep, full breath in. Letting the breath go. And gradually, from this place, bring your hands to connect in front of your own heart center. Start to deepen your breath. On the inhale, pulse your palms out to the right and left. Elbows stay bent. With the exhale, like 2 magnets, the palms draw back into each other to touch. And continue this, coordinating your motion, your breathing pattern. Inhale to expand out. And with the exhalation to draw in. And continue this movement a few more cycles. Take time to deepen your breath. 360 degrees, the diaphragm working as the primary engine of the breath. And if you work with Ujjayi or Ujjayi Pranayama, ocean sounding breath, feel free to layer that little contraction at the back of your throat, ensuring that there's still comfort in the facial muscles if you're engaging in this breath. So it's the deep breath with that little added sound for more warmth, a little added focus for the mind. One more final cycle, your own rhythm and speed with an out breath as you reconnect your palms. Take a moment to pause here and notice the breath. And then take a moment to create intention, focus for your time in practice. It might be around this idea of what do these practices of movement and breath and awareness offer to you beyond just the physical? So is there any added richness, even if it's a little bit of added pause, reflection, ease? And to acknowledge this deeper layer of the practice, however it shows up for you, whatever form that is. Gently bow your head to your own heart. And gradually release your hands down by the side of your space. From whatever seat you're at, cross-legged or the diamond seat, shift your weight forward or swing your legs back from cross-legged seat, coming to the front edge of your space for all fours. Hands underneath of your shoulders or a little wider, knees underneath of your hips or a little wider. Support your knees by adding a prop there if you have tension. With your inhale, float your right leg back behind. Point your toes back to stretch out the underside of your leg. Inhale, deep breaths. And with the exhalation, lower your knee down. Inhale, left leg extends, press your toes back, create a little stretch out through your ankle, your knee. Deep full breath. Exhale to release your knee down. With the inhale, draw your tailbone back, collarbone broad forward, low back arch for cow stretch. Exhale to round, cat stretch, chin to sternum. Inhale again, extend, open. Exhale to coil in and round. In breath to extend, spine length. Exhale to dome your back to the sky, round. One more time, inhale to lengthen. With the exhalation, take your time to round here. Pause in the rounding. Use an inhaling breath. Hands to thighs. Rise up all the way to kneeling position. Arms lift to the sky. With the exhale, open your arms to the right and left. Cactus. Inhale to lift. Arms back to the sky. Exhale again. Little cactus arms. Expand through your heart skyward. Inhale to lift. Exhale again. Inhale, arms rise to the sky. With your exhalation, lean over to the right side. Left arm up and over. Inhale to back off just a little bit here. Exhale, arc back into the side length. Few more times. Final cycle for the arc right. On your inhale, lift back up through center space, arms to the sky. With exhalation, release back down, tabletop position. Inhale, tip your tail back, collarbones broad, cow stretch. Exhale, coil in, pause, cat stretch. Inhale, take your hands to your thighs, rise up, kneeling position, lengthen your spine, arms high. With the exhale, bend, cactus arms, heart expands. Inhale, low back to neutral, arms to the sky. With exhale, arc over to the left side, hand to hip. Inhale, back off just a little bit. Exhale, arc back to the left. A few more times, breathe into your side body, honoring elongation here. Final cycle. Inhale to lift, arms rise up to the sky. Exhale, return, hands back down to the ground. With the inhale, scoop the tail, or draw the tail back rather. Expand through front body, cow. Exhale, round in, cat. Pause and use an inhale to return your low back to neutral space. Curl your toes under, fire up through your finger pads. On an inhale, press back, hips towards the sky, head in between your arms, fingers alive for downward facing dog pose. And feel free to bend one knee at a time, walk out your downward facing dog. Relax through your mouth, your jaw. Gradually pause, reset your posture here, active, pressing the fingertips a little forward, thighs press back. With an inhalation, roll your spine all the way forward, high plank pose, top of a push-up. One full breath. Exhale to release, knees back down to the ground. With inhale, expand your right leg back behind. Exhale, take a moment or two, step your right foot in between your hands, hand to calf support. Very valid here. Either back toes uncurled or curled, your choice. Back knee can support with a doubling of your mat or a blanket. Inhale to rise up. Torso and arms to the sky. Exhale, bend at your elbows, cactus. Keep your knee in line with your ankle, torso in line with your hip. Inhale, arms to the sky. Exhale, gentle rotation, twist right, back elbow bends towards the sacrum or low back. Inhale, rotate your torso through middle. Exhale again, gentle twist to the right. A few more times here. Final time to rotate and revolve. With your in-breath, rise back up through center, arms extend. Exhale, hinge, fold forward. Frame your front foot with the in-breath. Elevate your back knee off of the ground. If you have two blocks, you can always use them here for support. Otherwise, hands to little tents. Pause here. Feel free to make any little micro movements, building a little bit of fire in your legs. Stabilize length from the low spine to the top of your head. And gradually engage the hands back down to the earth with an inhale. Float right back, three-legged downward facing dog, right leg to the sky. Exhale to lower, reset downward facing dog pose. Stabilize in your down dog. With an inhale, core strong, shift your weight forward, high plank pose, top of a push-up. One brief breath. Exhale to release one knee, then the other. Use an inhale, left leg expands back behind. Exhale, take your time, step your foot through in between your hands. Adjust for any support that you need in your back knee. Inhale to rise up, torso and arms to the sky. Exhale, bend at your elbows, cactus arms. Inhale, arms rise to the sky. Exhale, revolve, left hand or right hand to knee, left hand back behind. Use your breath to flow here. Final cycle to revolve, your own speed. And with the inhale, extend both arms back up to the sky. Exhale, hinge, fold forward. Frame your front foot. Inhale to elevate your back leg off of the earth. Make any little micro movements here to explore. And from there, pause and sustain. If your wrists are tender, know that you can also bring your hands to fists. That can be a supportive option. Relax through your mouth, your jaw. Option here to soften your eyes just a little bit. So what happens when you relax the outer gaze? Notice what might open up from the inside out. Gradually reset your palms. On an inhale, take your time. Step back, three-legged down dog, left leg to the sky behind you. Opposite knee can always bend quite a bit if your low back rounds, hamstrings tighter. One more breath. Exhale to lower foot. Readjust downward facing dog pose. With an inhale, roll forward, high plank, top of a push-up. Stabilize here. Two options. Knees can come to the earth to support you, or use an exhale, bend through your elbows, come all the way down onto your belly. Uncurl your toes. Keep your legs hip distance apart. The hands slide a little back, thumbs in line with breastbones. Legs active to the earth, squeeze your glutes, little scoop in your tail. Keeping this inhale, lengthen forward to the top of your head, then add a little height for cobra pose. Exhale to back down to the earth. Inhale to lift back up. Exhale to lower. You can stay in this up and down motion to build heat. Otherwise, next time you lift, add a little layer of sensation by pausing here. Option for next layer, hands can float off of the earth. So you get to choose what you want to play with today. One more in breath. Exhale, slowly come back down towards the ground. Curl your toes, either tabletop from here or lift your knees. Arms strong. Inhale, reverse high plank, lift straight up. Exhale, press back, downward dog. Deep breath in. On an exhale, feel free to look out in front. Step to the front edge of your space. As many steps as you need to get there. Forward fold. Hip distance apart with your legs. With an inhale, lift and lengthen halfway up. Exhale to fold back down. Inhale again to elongate halfway up. This time with the exhale, bend your knees, shift the weight back behind. Spine long, arms join with the inhale for chair pose. Inner leg strong as if you were hugging a block there. Arms can always go higher if the shoulders allow, or hands come to your hips. And you get to choose how far you sink into the posture here. Build a little fire, deep breaths. With your inhale, root and rise back up to the sky. Either interlace your hands, index finger to sky, thumb back, or hands to opposite elbows for more shoulder support. Lengthen with the breath. Exhale, lean over to the right side. Pause here and sustain. Inhale to lift through center. Exhale, opposite side. Arc, pause, sustain, building oblique strength. Be aware of what's happening through your right foot. Keep it anchored as you elongate through the side body. Inhale to lift back up through middle space, palms touch. Exhale, bend your knees, shift the weight back, open your arms back behind for chair pose. Keep the legs low. Inhale, arms float out. With your exhale, hands back to your heart, straighten your legs, hinge right into forward fold. Inhale to lift and lengthen halfway up. With exhalation, fold back down to the earth. Step back, high plank pose, top of a push-up, full deep breath. Exhale, knees support or lower all the way down to the ground. Settle into your legs, strong glutes with the inhale, pulse, length first, then height, cobra. Exhale to float back down to the ground. Curl your toes under, table or high plank. Inhale to lift. Exhale, press back, downward dog. with your inhalation. Right leg sweeps to the sky, three-legged downward dog. Exhale, step your right foot through in between your hands. Lower your back knee to the ground. In breath to rise up. Move at your own speed here. With the exhalation, cactus arms open through your heart. Gentle baby back bend. Inhale to expand, arms to the sky. Exhale, twist to your right side. Inhale to lift, arms back up to the sky. With exhalation, lower your hands down. Inhale, lift your back knee high. Use an exhale as many steps. Front edge of your mat, forward fold. In breath to elongate, halfway up, spine long. Exhale to fold. Inhale to elongate, partway up. With your exhalation, bend your knees, shift the weight back. Keep the legs low. Inhale, float your arms up to the sky. Exhale, one time back behind. Inhale, straighten your legs, rise up. With exhalation, steeple or box with the shoulders, lean right. Inhale to rise through center. Exhale, lean left. Inhale to lift back up through middle space. Palms touch, hands at heart, bend back. Chair pose, arms back behind. One more time, keep the legs low. In breath to float the arms. With exhalation, hands to heart, hinge and fold. Forward bend, honoring the movement and breath. Inhale to lift, halfway up. Exhale to fold back down. Step back, high plank pose, top of a push-up. Deep breath. Move through, exhale, low push-up. With the inhale, cobra pose. Exhale, back down. Inhale, table or high plank in reverse. Exhale, downward facing dog. In breath for left leg, high to the sky. Exhale, step your left foot in between your hands. Lower your back knee. In breath to rise up, knee down, lunge. Exhale, bend your elbows, cactus, expand. Inhale, arms to the sky. Exhale, twist, open. Inhale, return back through center space. Exhale, lean forward. Use the breath, back leg high. Exhale as many steps, front edge of your space, forward fold. In breath to elongate halfway, spine long. Exhale to fold, forward bend. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, bend your knees, shift the weight back low with the legs. In breath, float your arms. Exhale, back behind. In breath to rise up, standing half moon. Exhale over to the right side. Inhale through center. Exhale, opposite side. Inhale through middle space. Exhale, hands to heart. Bend in your knees, chair, arms float back. In breath, arms lift. With the exhale, hands back to heart, hinge and fold, forward bend. Inhale to elongate, halfway rise. With exhalation, fold back down to the earth. With your out breath, step back. High plank pose, top of a push-up, full inhale. Exhale, slowly lower all the way down to the earth. Either cobra or this time, arms long by the side of your space. Center of the body active, glutes engaged. In breath to lift, legs and torso focus on length still. Take the arms for a little bit more fire. Locust pose. One more connected inhale. With the exhale, return down to the earth, hands by the side of your heart. Curl your toes under. With an in-breath, press back, table pose this time. Step your knees behind of your hips, uncurl your toes. Keep your arms long, stretch them out in front. Forehead dips down to the ground. If the forehead doesn't comfortably reach the earth, take a prop there. Fill in the space with a blanket or block. Puppy stretch. Keep your arms active. Armpits press a little skyward, so as if you had two little feathers tickling you here. Keep the engagement of the upper arms, creating a release for the back line of your body. And from there, relax through your eyes. Take a moment to Receive what you're aware of beyond just physical experience. What else is present? Use a gradual inhalation to lift back up through tabletop position. Keep your knees a little further behind as you engage through the finger pads. Inhale to lift hips towards the back wall. Downward facing dog. Take 3 rounds of cleansing breaths here in down dog to reconnect. So what happens on your life path when you engage in rituals that help you to stay plugged in, to feel like you're a part of something greater, to feel more enriched inside and out. With the full deep breath in, expand through your lungs. Exhale, feel free to look out in front. Take your time to come up to the front edge of your space. Inhale to elongate halfway up. With exhale, bend your knees, shift the weight back, root down. Inhale, circle the arms wide. This time, rise all the way up to standing. Exhale, hands lower down in front of your heart space. Take your hands to your hips. Find a gaze point to help you with balance out on the floor in front of you. Shift the weight into your left foot. With your inhale, float your right knee towards hip height. Ensure your left leg is not locked, so it's a little bit of a micro bend to support the engagement of your calf and quad. Full deep breath here. With exhale, cross right ankle to left thigh, start to sink back, figure 4, hands stay at hips or hands to heart. Honoring your own angle of your knee here. And with the inhale, rise back into balance, hands to hips, float your right knee. Mindfully, if you fall out, no big deal, come back to your own rhythm. Step your right foot all the way back behind, right heel to the sky. Back, little bend in the back knee, always welcome to keep the spine in line with your hips. If this is too intense, you can always flatten your back foot too for a warrior 1 foot. Inhale to lift, arms rise to the sky. With exhale again, return cactus arms. This time pause, palms can face each other. Expand through the sternum bone upwards, chin can look up a little bit. Notice what that does to your balance. With inhale, arms rise back up to the sky. Exhale, spin your back foot down, open your arms, waistline expands, warrior 2 stance. Back foot can go out wider, toes can be at whatever angle from 45 to 90, or actually any other angle that works in your ankle. Relax through the neck, throat. If your neck allows, look out in front to your left fingertips. With an inhale, straighten through your front leg, arms rise to the sky. 1 time, exhale, resink into your front thigh, lengthen out through your left fingertips. Forearm rests onto the front thigh, top arm overhead, lateral or side angle pose. Lots of elongation and lots of posture options. So if you have a prop, you're exploring a little bit more heat, you can always take your hand to the outside of your prop. Top arm can come up and over. Soften through your mouth and your jaw. And use an inhale to rise back up through center, front leg straightens, right hand dips back behind, left arm up and over, reverse triangle pose. Stretch into the sideline of your body here. One more dedicated breath. With the exhalation, mindfully here, bend into your front knee, windmill the hands to the inside of your left foot, gradually slide. Take your time here. Right knee bends, hands frame, shift the weight a little forward, front leg stays long. So this is sometimes called a Kung Fu lunge. Being mindful, inner leg might get a little activation here. Front toe still active. You can also use a prop to support yourself, block, or even a water bottle can work well here. So ensure that the front leg foot is super active, protecting the inner line of your leg here. And gradually from here on an in-breath, take your time. Honor your speed of transition. Rock forward to the front edge of your mat. Re-step back into high plank pose. Top of a push-up, deep breath in. With exhale, lower down, low push-up. Option for cobra, locust, anything you want, or upward dog as another option. Glutes squeeze, heart opens. Exhale, shift back, downward facing dog pose. Take a moment to feel, to notice anything that's present on this side or the side of your body that you activated. With an in breath, feel free to look out in front. On the exhale, make your way front edge of your space, forward bend. Inhale to lift and lengthen part way. Exhale, bend your knees, shift the weight back behind. Inhale to rise up all the way standing. Exhale, hands float down to your hips. Gaze point out in front, shift right foot. Inhale, left knee to hip height for balance. Stabilize front leg in a little bend, deep breath. And with the exhale, ankle to front thigh, sink your weight back to your own degree, figure four. Notice if you're clenching through your right toes, allow them to stay spread, active. Inhale to rise right back up into balance. With exhale, take your time. Left foot steps back behind, back heel high, little bend in the knee. Welcome to keep the torso in line with your hips. In breath to elongate, arms to the sky. With exhale, this time around, interlace your hands back behind you. You can also use a prop here, tie or shirt if the shoulders are very tight. Stretch the knuckles back, open through the front body. Inhale to expand, arms rise to the sky. Exhale, spin your back foot, open your waistline, warrior two pose. If the hips are tender here, take a wider stance. With your back foot, arms to T, option to look out in front. Inner legs active and engaged. And check in here with the internal conversation of your mind. So if it's available, if it feels safe in your experience, soften your eyes here partway or completely close. Take a moment to feel the internal landscape. And with an inhale, straighten through your front leg, arms lift. Exhale, resink into your front thigh, lean forward. Land right forearm to front thigh. Take your options, arm to the sky, up and over, or hand down to another prop. Keep elongation your focus, both in the left and right side of your ribs. Mindful of the breath, option to again soften the eyes. So the eyes are very much our scanning instrument for threats and danger. This is part of the human survival mechanism. So that's an important thing. And it's opportunity to create a little bit more softness when we relax the gaze just a little bit. Often that can support just the noticing, the sensitivity to what else is present. With an inhalation, rise back up, straighten through your front leg. Left hand dips back behind, right arm up and over. Breathe into your side body. One more breath. Exhale, rebend into your right knee, both hands to the inside of your front foot. Take your time, bend your left knee, right leg extends long, toes super active here. Use any prop that you need for this little side lunge. Notice what you're feeling. If you do want an additional balance challenge, you can always play with a tap dance, hand to the earth, or hands to heart center to stabilize. Super mindful on your left knee, keeping awareness there that there's zero torque. Lengthen your spine as best you can here. With an inhale, gradual shift towards the front edge of your space. Exhale to sink back, step back right into high plank pose. Move through your own rhythm here. You can also do cat-cow or just skip right into down dog. Take a moment here to feel, to notice. From this place, once more connecting to a little bit of movement and breath. Inhale to take a deep breath in. With your exhalation, travel to the front edge of your mat. Forward fold. Inhale to elongate halfway up. Exhale, bend your knees, shift the weight back behind. Inhale to circle, rise up to standing. Exhale, hands to hips, gaze point to the earth. In breath, right foot or left foot anchors rather, right knee rises. Exhale, step or draw your right ankle to your left thigh, sink back, figure 4. With the inhalation, rise back up. Exhale, step back, crescent lunge. Inhale, arm sweep to the sky. Exhale, cactus arms. Inhale to lift, arms rise up. Exhale, warrior 2. Move at your own rhythm here. Inhale, front leg straightens, arms lift, little sun breath. Exhale to sink, lean forward, forearm to front thigh. In breath to take lateral ankle variation here. Take another exhale. And with the inhale, rise back up. Reverse triangle pose. Exhale to draw the arm back. Another deep breath. Exhale, rebend into your front knee, both hands to inside of your front foot. Shift back, little side lunge. Deep, full breath. Exhale it out. Use an inhaling breath. Shift back, front edge of your mat. Exhale, step back, high plank. Take a full breath in. With the out breath, flow through your own rhythm and expression here. Find yourself downward facing dog pose. Inhalation. With the exhalation, step up, front edge of your space, forward fold. Inhale to elongate halfway up. Exhale, bend your knees, shift the weight back. Inhale to rise up, standing. Exhale, hands lower down to your heart. Hands to your hips, gaze point supporting you, root into your right foot. In breath to float, left knee. Exhale, ankle to front thigh, shift back, figure 4. Inhale to rise back up through balance. Exhale, step left foot back behind. Inhale, circle the arms up to the sky. With exhalation, interlace your hands back behind you, opposite way from before. Inhale to lengthen, open. With the exhalation, release your hands. Inhale again, circle the arms high. Exhale, windmill or spin your back foot, open warrior 2. Inhale, front leg straightens, arms lift. Exhale to sink back down. Shift your weight forward, forearm to front thigh. Use the breath. Take any options here. Next inhalation, rise back up through center, straighten through your front leg, reverse triangle, top arm up and over. Exhale it out. Deep breath in. Exhale, rebend into your front thigh, windmill the hands inside of your front foot, bend, shift, little side lunge, active here. And use an inhaling breath. Shift your weight forward back to the front edge of your mat. Take your time, step back, high plank pose. Move through your own rhythm. Option to stay with down dog. The meeting back and downward facing dog. With an inhalation, roll forward, high plank pose, top of a push-up. Remember, knees can support here. As you exhale, lower all the way down onto the floor. Cobra, always an option, or take the arms long, squeeze your glutes, in breath to lift. Legs, torso, Shalabhasana locust pose. Arms can float, interlace behind. Deep connected breaths. Check in with your attention, your mind here. You can always release earlier, otherwise sustain this for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. One more breath. Exhale to land all the way down onto the ground. Reset your hands here for support. Gradually, mindfully flip your whole body here, coming onto your back. As you come onto the support of your back body, bend your knees, draw the soles of your feet together. The heels come as close towards your body as works here for a little bit of stretch, but also not over the top. In bound angle reclined variation. If this feels very intense, you can always place 2 props to the side of your knees, letting gravity do the work here. Deep, full breath. Open mouth, optional sound, sigh, let it go. Relax through your eyelids. Notice any reverberation that you're feeling from the standing practice, moving with breath. How can you transition here to a place of softness, of ease, muscles less engaged, drinking in the benefits of the practice? And from here, use both of your hands for support on a soft breath. Knees rise back up to center. Extend your right leg long. Bring your arms to T or cactus position, depending on space. Inhale, full breath. Use the left foot to lift your hips. Slide them just a little bit over to the left side of your space. Land them back down. Keeping this now, begin to twist over to the right side of your space. Honor your own degree of the twist. Left shoulder is your foundation, rooted to the earth. And breathe into the left side of your body here. If you feel any undue pressure on your lumbar spine, you can scoop the tail a little bit more, or back off the little sliding motion we did. Use an inhalation to return your leg back through center. Extend your left leg long, right knee bends, right foot to the earth. Use it for leverage on an inhale to lift your hips, slide them over way to the right side. Keeping this right shoulder heavy and rooted, twist your right knee over to the left side of your space. You can always place a block prop under your knee if it's feeling a lot of tension in the right hip. Invite softness through your facial muscles, eyelids. Staying aware of where your mind is at. Still an opportunity to be here with yourself in this moment, in this time, and to savor, to be, to receive. Utilize this soft inhalation to return your knee back up through center. With both feet on the earth, use your reset your hips back to a neutral place. With an in-breath, lift your legs straight up to the sky. Knees are welcome to stay bent for hamstrings. Arms joined straight up as well. Begin to shake everything out. Your fingers, toes, calves, quads, forearms, upper arms, everything in a little shake here to stimulate through the lymph system. And if there is remaining tension present for you, option to add a little sound. This is called the ecstatic bug pose. Take a breath in. With the exhale, your favorite bug song, a little. Keep shaking it out for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Exhale, hug your knees into center. Take a moment to notice any tingles, sensation, reverse blood flow, temperature shift. Deep, full breath in. Exhale to let go. And from this place, begin to listen to the internal wisdom of your own being, your own breath, your own body, your intuitive centers, and take any final movements to complete your time of practice before the final relaxation. And if you find that rest is what your body is craving most, give yourself that added time to pause, to make adjustments for comfort, to cover your eyes if you have an additional prop, and settle into the support of the ground. And if you're still in your own exploration, take your time over the next 10 or so rounds of dedicated breath to make your way and join the final resting pose. If you're already in the place of rest, allow your body to become even more comfortable. And as you settle in, let go of any holding through the layer of your skin. Invite your muscles to unwrap, unwind from any remaining tension. And let your bones be heavy, sinking towards the ground, completely supported and held. Relax any tension through abdominal muscles, ribs, your mouth, your jaw, eyelids soft. If you find that your mind is in a busy state, invite focus on the way the natural breath moves in, out. You can focus on the tips of your nostrils or belly. And giving yourself permission to simply be here and rest. I'll be back in a little bit to guide you out. And very slowly become more conscious of your own body here. With your breath in the background, welcome in very slow and gentle waking motions. Fingertips, toe tips, head, neck. Any other movements, caress of your shoulders or stretch of your arms. And with a gentle inhalation, knees rise back up to center space. Roll over to either side in a fetal pose. And from this position, this gesture of new beginnings, of nurturance, find a comfortable way to lift back up and take a supportive seat with your spine long, eyes relaxed, hands either connected, palms at the heart center, or one hand to the heart, the other hand on top of that. And in this pause, take note of how you're feeling here and now. Anything that has been offered to you through your engagement with this practice. And to affirm yourself for showing up, each other's company through the virtual airwaves, and this ability that we have to utilize these practices for all their benefits, including this ability to find something beyond just the physical, whatever that looks like, feels like to you. Gently bow your head to your own heart, acknowledging your wisdom, your strength. Namaste.